My name is Ola. I'm the founder of the Money with Club. I have over 15 years experience in finance, investing. I started my career as a securities trader. I managed balance sheets of banks. I have been in the investment space for that long. And sometime in 2020, during the lockdown, I was inspired to share what I knew about personal finances on on a YouTube channel. So I created a YouTube channel. And why did I do that? Because I had snippets of conversations with people over time and realized that the fact that you make a lot of money doesn't imply that you have savings, that you can handle shocks, or that you can even invest for the future. And I realized that it became more of a thing in 2020, like people were under a lot of pressure. And so I just thought to share. I knew for a fact that at some point, I knew for a fact that at some point we would all be out of our houses, but at least let's know how to do better after that season. And so I started a YouTube channel, and I got a lot of good feedback. People were learning, and one day a friend reached out to me and said, "Ola, have you ever thought about starting an investment community that you're sharing so much and people want to take action but they don't know where to start from? So can you actually create a community where people would just come together and learn, and you point them in the right direction, And I was like, am I carrying, do I really want to carry the burden of people? But somehow she convinced me. Another friend called, totally different people, not talking to each other, making the same request, and I just started giving it some thoughts. So sometime in November of 2020, I did like a mini, okay, come together, come and learn, and then I opened people up to the club. Like, I'm thinking of starting this. I just want to have 20 people to start with, and they are the better members. And I dare say that 18 of the better members are still members of the club till today. And so we had the better members sign up. So there were 20 in total. And it was more like, let's just see how this goes. If it does not work, I'll shut it down. And you all know that you're a better member. So you are in that phase of deciding whether it will work or not. And so we started. We started on the third Saturday of January in 2021. And ever since then, every single third Saturday of the month, we have had a webinar. Um, and it has gone on from there. So, what's the Money with Club? The Money with Club is a community of working class professionals and business executives where we learn about finance and investing, and we actually invest. And so, it's one of those spaces where it's a safe space for people. So, if you've ever lost money, right? If to a bad investment and you couldn't see why, or if you're always losing, if you're always hearing about deals when it's over, that's what the community is there for, so that you actually hear the deals while they are still available and you jump on them. Bearing in mind that the people that we see today that are on 100 boards is because they heard of transactions earlier when no one heard of them. And so how do we create that community where you get this information, and where we also explain what it is about, what it means? Oh, I heard this, what does this mean? And you say, okay, this is what it means, and this is how we can plug into it. And that's what the Money with Club is about. It's one of the expressions of a financial wellness company which I run, and I'm the owner, called olaoladele.com. And what we do in olaoladele.com is basically personal finance, literacy, and education, and everything around that. And so we have three different expressions. We have a community, which is the Money with Club. We have a media expression where we have our radio show, our podcast, YouTube channel, and then we also have pure financial education where we do workshops for individuals, gather individuals together, teach them about one part of personal finance or investing, or we train companies, do corporate trainings, just speaking engagements and stuff like that. So basically, the Money with Club, when you think about the Money Club, just know that it's one of our expressions. It's not all that we do. Yes, we don't do the Money Club every day, money tonight, but it's one of our expressions, and it's impacting lives, and we're very excited that we are three. Yay! So it's quite interesting that what we started off with is what we're still doing, and it's basically financial education, access to investment opportunities, and community. But what I'd say is that we have been able to deepen the definition of these things. Our pillars have not changed. We have not had a reason to pivot into anything new. We have stuck with what our value proposition was from the get-go. But what we have done is that we've enhanced it. For example, community. We started off with, okay, virtual, online webinars, chat, community, but we've had physical events. We've had physical events in Lagos. We've had a total of 5 physical events. We've had one in the UK. We have deepened in the complexity of transactions we've brought to the house. We have brought transactions in 4 different currencies, from real estate to creatives, like all sorts, right? So we've deepened on that. And then in terms of education, we've done all sorts. We've brought people from different spaces, top in their with respect to education, also, we have pretty much done the same thing, right? Brought people that are leaders and authorities in their spaces in investment, and they've come to pass on knowledge to the community, and we have grown. So, with respect to investments, we have a broad range of assets under our portfolio, right? Of what we've done, right? And in different currencies. So, we invested in wine, that was in pounds. In art, that was in naira, but the potential to sell it outside the country. We've invested in real estate in naira that the returns come in dollars. Um, we've also brought creatives. We've done 3 movie investments. Um, 2 of them we've already exited, and we've exited with good returns. We've invested in property in Nairobi, Kenya. That was particularly exciting for me. It was a tough nut to crack, but we got it done. And the people that invested, we had someone in the States that was part of that was on that that took up one of the properties. That would be different countries, right? And so that was in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. And that was in Nairobi, Kenya. Of course, I've done the basics being stocks, bonds, commercial papers, and the likes, FGN bonds, treasury bills, just pushing people to those things. We've also done that. And then of course the Euro bonds. So what am I saying? We have like a broad range. Like we have more investments. We literally have presented over 100 transactions. Of course, we've done venture capital of different sorts. Um, that are doing well, right? In different sectors, different countries, all of them in USD, obviously, because that's generally the base currency. But we've done a whole lot, and we are going to do more as we go along. So, with respect to milestones, I think before I go into like specific stuff, I'm always glad to see growth, right? I remember someone who joined as a beta member of a community, and she's a medical professional. She's a doctor. She's an orthopedic surgeon, right? Top in her space, but like she was asking the most basic, like basic personal finance questions. What is this? Where do I find this? Like things. I'm not talking about investment or personal finance questions, right? So how do I create a budget? Things like that. How do I know what I'm supposed to do with what? But over time, like I see her talking, I see her having conversations, I see the investment she's gone into and exited, I see the confidence that has come over time. And that for me is like the first thing that totally excites me, where you see people become more and more confident about what they're doing with their finances. And I dare say that a lot of people assume that personal finance and just the whole wealth building process is very random, and because of that they do not think there's a need to learn, and they do not think there's a need to plan. But we all know that life is life. We can't control every piece or every detail of life, but we also plan at work. We set targets at work. We have strategic plans, 5 year strategic plan, 3 years, break it down into 1 year, break it down into months. That's the same thing. Doesn't mean that winds won't blow, but it serves as an anchor, and you keep fighting towards it. That's the same logic. So that aside, what other milestones do I want to recognize? So the first one is the deals, the kind of deals that we've done. Before everyone started talking about creatives, we did a creative investment in 2021 that we exited last year. We've invested in wine. I've brought deals from North America, Canada, to invest in a car wash. Just the fact that people are seeing real transactions, right? Is one thing that I want to I'm really excited about. It's not a tangible, it's not a clear-cut milestone, but it's just that growth in the quality of the deals, the variety of the deals that we bring to the house, and the fact that people are asking questions. They're not just taking a deal because Ola brought it. And I think that's like the major thing. The fact that people actually critique what I bring, right? And people are going to ask questions. People are using their own networks to get gist, background gist and stuff. Those are the things that tell me that we are growing, we are deepening our value proposition. With respect to the community and how it has evolved, community building and deepening takes time. It takes one letting people know over and over again that they can speak up, and it's fine to speak up, especially because the profile of people in the community are high flyers, doing very well in their spaces, but they know that they need, so people come because they need to know more about investing. And some people come not like they don't know about investing, but they want deals, right? But most people come because they want to know more about investing and to do better. They probably gotten burned somewhere or the other. But the confidence to actually open your mouth and ask a question, that was like the first thing we had to overcome. Guys, if you have a question, no matter how mundane it is, just ask. Just ask. There is no point sitting down in silence when you don't know, and we are here for you. What that did over time in getting that confidence, getting people to that point where they could freely, openly ask questions that they thought, and they'll start with, "Oh, I know this is a foolish question. I know this doesn't make sense, but and then I always say, no, it makes sense. Ask the question. If you don't know, you don't know. Once you know it, right? But over time, what it has done is that it has made people comfortable. It had actually made people feel like, okay, I'm part of a community. Nobody is judging me. Even though, I suppose, I know my profile, I know how much I earn, I know people can profile how much I should earn. But if I say, this is expensive or this doesn't work, nobody's judging me because it's a safe space. And so over time, that particular value proposition in the community where people feel like, okay, they can actually ask and be free is something that we have evolved with over time. And of course, the hangouts, the hangouts have gone from everybody just oh hi to a point where people are actually like engaging, people are doing stuff together, people that met each other in the community are doing stuff on their own, are creating products together, or they're having events together, and people get to sell what they have, to the community, and everybody's comfortable. Of course, we've had parties. Like the last party we had was really good. We had our end of year party and it was a lot of fun. That is how, but community does take time to actually evolve and deepen. Okay, one memorable success story of a community member. I think I've talked about the doctor, so I can pick another one. There's a lady in the club who is a tech executive, a global tech executive, and when she joined the club, she was asking the most basic questions. At a point, she just said, "Ola, I'm sorry that if everybody's asking questions like me, I don't know how you cope, but I need to have all these questions answered." And after a while, the questions started slowing down. But what was so profound for me was her coming, like it was a Christmas holiday season, and we hung out, and she was talking about how she had so much clarity about what to be doing in her finances, because we had a session about how to plan for giving and stuff, and so she already knew what she was giving to people. The rest of the money, there was no money. Like she was like, everything had been moved into different places and plugged, and very confident. And I mean, for me, it was such a joyous moment because I could see where she was coming from. In fact, it was then that she shared how she had been burnt with different transactions, and she just realized that there must be a method to this madness. And for her joy was that she's actually beginning to understand the method to the madness, bearing in mind that, okay, yes, we can't predict how every investment will go, but you can also predict how you would grow financially as an individual. So with respect to the financial landscape, I mean, we started off in 2021. That was right after the famous year 2020. And a lot of people, so I would say, first of all, that the financial landscape at that time, and I mean, for me personally, I did a lot of investing in 2020, a lot of structured investing in 2020. Why? Because a lot of assets were going for cheap, right? And so starting the club, I was telling people, okay, guys, I know that everything looks so noisy, looks so noisy, but assets are really cheap. The stock market is really cheap. Bond yields are high. These are the times to go into these things. So people, and I mean, one of the things we say is education and baby steps. Start with small. Now, those people that started in 2021 when they joined, and they're like, now they're saying, oh, I wish I had done more then. I was just scared. I didn't really understand what you were saying. Why? Because one thing I have found is that there would always be noise. There's never a time that the whole economy of the world, everything is fine everywhere at the same time. But what you need to do is that in the midst of the noise, there is some company, there's some idea that is going to benefit from that noise. If you can predict which company is going to benefit from the noise, and the company amongst them that is well run, and you are able to invest in it, then you have a gold mine in your hands. And so I always tell people there would always be noise. There will always be ups and there will be downs. You don't want to buy stocks when it's already expensive. You want to buy it when it's cheap. But when it's cheap, you are scared that the stock market is going down. So whilst we know that there's so much happening, inflation is on a high, everything is on a high, there's always a company that is positioned to benefit from it. So I say read the economy, but read it to the end that it doesn't make you afraid, but it makes you recognize opportunities. So one interesting thing that I found with respect to education part with the club is the fact that no matter what English I speak, if you don't take action, you think you know it, but you don't. I have found it very funny where, oh, we talk about something, everybody's quiet, and then we do an investment in that space, and all of a sudden people are now saying, I saw this in the news. What does it have to do with my money? What does it have to do, right? The fact is that they would have seen that news, but if they did not have that investment, their ears will not have been open. Whatever explanation I give would just be like, oh, okay, yes, we hear you. So, and I think it's with everything in life. Yes, you can go to a class and sit down and learn. We go to school, go to university. But there's a reason why when you start work, there's an onboarding process. Do you know finance? Yes. Did you study finance in university? Yes. But when you get into real life, they will tell you that, okay, that thing that you heard, this is how to apply it in real life. Right. So no matter how much education, and I always tell them, yes, attend the webinars, do all the listening to videos, asking questions, but if you do not invest, I put it to you, you don't really know what I've told you, right? And it has actually played out. You will now find that people have been here for a while, but they've not invested in a particular thing, but the first thing they do, they begin to ask questions, and you now know, okay, now your ears and your heart and your mind are open. Now, unique features. Like I said, we started with the value proposition, community education, and deals and investment opportunities. But what we've done is that we've deepened it. With respect to community, for example, we're going on a business tour to an East African country, to Kenya, in February this year. Why? Because people in the club are doing very interesting things. We have a network in Kenya, we have access to Kenya, and why don't we bridge that gap and give our people a platform to go global? That's a big thing, like it's a tangible thing. But then little things, like we've realized that we'll have people will bring a transaction, and people say they're interested, but they're so busy they don't end up filling the form that is required. So let's say there's a bond issue. I'm interested in the bond. I've said I'm interested in the bond. Oh yeah, here's the form, fill it. So we did something very simple. We did like a white glove service where you pay a little token, and then we fill all your forms for you. Why? So that you don't lose the deal. Because we're just seeing a trend where people will say they're interested. Oh, I'll fill it. And like the deal is about to close, and then it closes. And then you just realize, okay, you're waiting for the next one. The next one might be a lower rate. Things might have changed. You might spend the money. Someone will come and meet you for the money. And so we said, okay, how do we bridge that gap? That's one that we did. Then another thing also that we did was we also try to gather data on people. Okay, how much do you earn versus how much you have in savings? How many years have you worked? So we see if there's a mismatch. And then at some point we saw that, okay, there was actually a mismatch. People were basically spending a lot more than they should, like, I mean, based on your earning capacity and stuff. So we decided to do a savings challenge. We got people to stretch themselves in terms of how much they would save. If it's that they needed to create a new earnings line to be able to save that amount, and then we did a savings challenge, and people were put in groups, ginger themselves. And but what were we doing? It's neither education, it's neither community, it's neither or maybe we'll say it's community, right? But it's not an investment opportunity. But what we do, we're trying to get people to actually pull themselves up, right? To do better, to do more, to plan better, to critique their spending habits, and to see where their spending habits are leading them to. And it was quite a good outcome for the savings challenge. So, at the start, I said that the Money with Club is one of the expressions of olaoladile.com, and we're doing all things personal financial wellness. So, one of the things that we've decided going forward for the Money with Club is that we're going to cap the number of people in the community. And it's quite interesting because I got a lot of feedback in the club. Oh, we love the way people don't feel lost. People know themselves. We're building a strong community and stuff. We really love it. And we want it to grow, but we also like it. So how you find the middle ground, So I always like, oh, guys, move on. I'm growing. But over time, I realized that they might actually have a point. And speaking with one of my mentors, he mentioned that, you're going to cap the number in the club. That most times when clubs just grow like that, it loses its essence, and it just becomes lackluster. And of course, because it's a subscription business, people would cancel their subscription and leave, right? So you might as well just cap the number, plan for that number, and curate a beautiful experience for everyone in the club. So yes, the Money with Club is going to be capped. It's already capped. We already have a number. And once we hit that number, we stop. And it becomes totally exclusive. And only if someone cancels their subscription will someone else come in. Now, what are we going to do? Because obviously there's still a need for education, investment opportunities and stuff. We're going to have a newsletter service. So we will tell you of the opportunities, we would explain them to you, but we're not going to have that community bringing everyone together type thing. It will be a newsletter community. That is what we're evolving into. And we'll share more about that as we go along. But bear in mind that if you are thinking of joining the club, you might want to join very soon, because it's about to shut down. We are actually really close, so it's about to shut down. For me personally, I totally love this question because, for me, it has been a very maturing experience, because I am an investment professional and I have taken risk. I've been a trader. I've lost money. I know what it means to lose money. I know how it feels when you lose money. I know how people can change it for you when things go bad. So, one of the things that I have had to do with this community is to bring in all the structuring experience that I've ever had seen, like just bring everything. Why? Because, like I say in the club, you don't have an investment if your legals are not tidy. No matter how much you say I own this property, if you don't have the documents for the property, you don't own the property. Even if you have the documents but it's not in your name, you actually do not own the property for all intents and purposes. Take note of that. However, what it has forced me to do is to be very creative around managing, because it's very dicey. We don't take people's money. But then we also have to point them in the right direction, and we also need to make sure that the right direction is actually the right direction. For me, I've had to learn to use what I have a whole lot. Meaning, we're getting on a deal. Yes, I have a network. I have people in that space. I reach out to them, but also the people in the club. Guys, reach out to people. Do you have any friends? If you have a friend in this, if your money is going to this, go out, make a call and ask them this type of questions. Let's hear the answers that you get. And that has actually saved us from a lot of stress. A lot of times, the information we need to run away from a bad deal is not more than 3 people away from us. But because people don't talk, you don't know, they don't know that you're going into this deal, or else that's told you don't do it, but they are here, they've suffered already, they don't want to tell you that they've lost money. So what we have done with the community is that we say, okay, people have different experiences, people know different people. Okay, let's bring everyone together and let's draw value. And so that has saved us a whole lot. And for me, I think for more than anything, it's just the value of people, right? And not taking people for granted, and just knowing that even if the person says that they are the tech da, you just don't know if their twin brother or sister is in the medical space that can answer the question of your life. So, just value people, just learning to respect, honor people is something that I had a mindset of it before, but more than ever before, it's like such a driving force for me. Make sure people smile when they meet you. Make sure you make them genuinely happy, not for any reason, but know that everybody is valuable. I think that has been it for me in this club.